Security lines wrap around terminals from coast to coast.
This is crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
President Trump signing an emergency order directing the Department of Homeland Security to pay TS officers using existing funds, calling it an unprecedented emergency at airports. DHS saying TSA officers could start seeing paychecks as soon as Monday. This after another stunning breakdown on Capitol Hill. House Speaker Mike Johnson blasting a bill passed by the Republican-led Senate that would have immediately reopened DHS without funding for Border Patrol and ICE.
This gambit that was done last night is a joke. The Republicans are not going to be any part of any effort to reopen our borders or to stop immigration enforcement.
That move guaranteeing the shutdown will extend indefinitely, with the two sides pointing fingers. The Speaker plans to put up a bill that would extend DHS funding, including ICE and Border Patrol, for 60 days. A plan Senate Democrats who want reforms to ICE say is dead on arrival. We pressed the Speaker.
At what point is a leader on either side going to stand up and say, we have a path forward that everyone will agree to? This vote today will extend the shutdown under any circumstance.
No, it won't. No, it won't. This is not party blame game. This is a record. You can hold up the record.
Rank and file members frustrated by the gridlock.
I mean, the American people must be sick of that specifically.
They're sick of politics. They don't want this finger pointing.
And even though TSA workers will get their paychecks soon, the damage may already be done. More than 480 TSA officers have already quit.
If it looks like this is going to become the norm, then we're definitely reevaluating our ability to maintain these jobs.
All with travelers waiting for relief. Mike Reyes showed up at a Houston airport and discovered his 4-hour drive to Dallas would be shorter than the security line to get on his flight.
If I just left, got the truck and started driving.
All of the chaos you're seeing in airports around the country is entirely the fault of Donald Trump and the Republicans. This was LaGuardia in New York the other day, like a 1, 2, 3 hour wait in security. And this is what it comes down to. There's currently a government shutdown for the Department of Homeland Security, and that includes TSA. So none of the TSA agents are getting paid. A lot of them are calling out sick because they don't want to work while they're not getting paid for obvious reasons. But Democrats have introduced 7 different bills to fund the TSA. Republicans have blocked every single one. And Donald Trump is saying that he doesn't want to pay TSA or fund the government unless they also pass the Save America Act, which is a voter suppression bill. So because of Donald Trump and the Republicans standing in the way of this funding, there is a very low chance that this government shutdown ends anytime soon. For example, on Polymarket, there's a 68% chance that the government shutdown goes past March 31st. And as you can see today, the odds just keep going up and up because Donald Trump and the Republicans are saying publicly that they're going to stand in the way of this funding. So if you missed your flight or you got delayed or whatever it might be, thank Donald Trump and his buddies for that.
Just a reminder that your TSA lines look like this because Democrats are once again prioritizing illegals.
Hi. Just a reminder that you're regurgitating information you've been fed without letting your gray matter process it, which would allow you to use logic to guide your opinion. And as a follow-up reminder and proof of what I'm saying, the news that the Senate had developed a bipartisan deal. And based on your video, I think I need to explain to you what bipartisan is. It means that both parties agreed to it. That would have allowed TSA to be funded immediately and separately from ICE, allowing airport to start once again operating normally. But that Donald Trump, I know you think of him as your cult leader, but he's also the president of the United States, so he should make decisions that are in the best interest of our country, rejected that deal, saying that Republicans in Congress should not compromise. So next time you go to the airport and see this line, remember that Donald Trump had an opportunity to solve this problem but didn't. And now he's hoping for some people who are not informed enough to understand the difference to still support his destructive policies. Then again, in his mind, he's already dragged us into an illegal war we didn't ask for, made us far more broke than we've been since the Great Depression, and robbed us of basic healthcare. What's 3 hours in line at TSA on top of all that?
President Trump announced that he's going to sign an executive order directing the Secretary of Homeland Security to pay TSA agents and end the chaos at our nation's airports. Now, very clearly, he's trying to take credit for solving the problem here. That's to state the obvious. But remember, this is a problem he himself created and has perpetuated now for weeks. I mean, Democrats have repeatedly offered to pass a standalone bill funding the TSA. Even Republicans, like Senators John Kennedy and Ted Cruz, got on board with that plan. But Trump refused. He could have signed this executive order at any point over the past month, or he could have agreed to the deal Democrats were offering him. but he chose not to. He created this mess, and now he's trying to take all of the credit for fixing it. If you don't believe me, here was Republican Senator John Kennedy saying it as clear as can be earlier this week.
We could have had TSA paid by the end of the week, but the president said no deals.
Now, to make matters worse, because Trump waited so long on this, just funding TSA doesn't mean the agency is now suddenly fixed. I mean, earlier this week, the head of TSA told Congress that nearly 500 TSA agents have quit since the start of the partial shutdown. She added that it takes 4 to 6 months to train new TSA officers. So even though Trump has now all of a sudden decided that he wants to fund the TSA, a lot of damage has already been done. It won't be that easy to reverse.
This fiscal year, TSA has been shut down for 50% of the time, or 85 days. And if still shut down this Friday, we will have reached nearly $1 billion in missed paychecks. This level of disruption is unprecedented and unacceptable and significantly undermines the security of U.S. transportation systems. 95%, or more than 61,000 of TSA's employees must continue working without pay during a shutdown. Many in our workforce have missed bill payments, received eviction notices, had their cars repossessed and utilities shut off, lost their child care, defaulted on loans, damaged their credit line, and drained their retirement savings. Some are sleeping in their cars, selling their blood and plasma, and taking on second jobs to make ends meet, all while being expected to perform at the highest level when in uniform to protect the traveling public. A transportation security officer at Reagan National Airport recently said, "I just want Congress to pay me for the job I am doing." We have already lost over 480 TSOs this shutdown, and our call-out rates have accelerated as our workforce was still reeling from the last shutdown.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but it's a really good bill from Ruben Gallego that needs to get a lot more attention. Basically, he says he wants to give a 10% bonus to TSA agents whenever all of this mess ends. Which is crazy in the first place because Republicans shut down the government, so now they're paying ICE to sit in airports and do nothing but watch TSA agents. Like, it's crazy. Anyway, this bill would give a 10% bonus to those agents. Now, I would add an amendment to this. I think that 10% needs to be tax-free, and they should give them back some of the time off they might have used during this process. Personally, I think that should be mandated across the federal workforce for anybody when there's a government shutdown. Sounds like common sense to me. Let's see how the Republicans block it.
And there it is. Trump just exposed himself by signing a presidential memorandum to pay TSA agents back pay and their current checks. Because the gag is, he could have done this shit 42 days ago. He had the authority to do it this entire time, but he didn't. And the reason why tells us everything we need to know about how this country fucking works. Because here's what actually happened. The last time there was a government shutdown, last year, which lasted 43 days, Delta Airlines lost $200 million. And this shutdown is about the same time, but it also coincided with spring break, where airline travel usually spikes. Which means that Delta lost more than $200 million this government shutdown, because no TSA pay means agents quit and call out. And no TSA agents means the longest wait times in TSA history. And the longest wait times in TSA history means airlines lose millions of dollars because people stop flying. And because Delta lost millions, they pulled all special perks for Congress people until they got their shit together and paid TSA agents in full. Because in their minds, Congress is fucking with their money. Mind you, at the same time, TMZ says send us all the pics of Republicans on vacation while TSA suffers because we're gonna expose their asses. And Senate Republicans, who were only finally mad as fuck because they were personally impacted about losing their perks and being the ones shamed, were finally the ones in the crosshairs. So they folded by unanimously voting with Democrats to pass a funding bill to pay all TSA agents. The bill passes the Senate and then goes to the House of Representatives, where the MAGA Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, doesn't bring the vote to the floor, stalling the bill, not killing it, just stalling it. And the reason he did that was to buy Trump enough time to sign this presidential memorandum saying that he will pay TSA agents so that he looks like the savior. Because the alternative was Mike Johnson and Republicans being forced by shame from TMZ and by the loss of perks from these airlines to bring this bill to the floor for a vote, because it would have passed. And Trump then would have had two options. Option one, he signs it, but now he's signing a bill that Congress passed without him, a bill that excluded his precious ICE funding and Border Patrol bullshit, and a bill that Republicans turned on him. He would have looked weak and like a loser. Or option two, he could have vetoed it out of ego, because that's who he is. But there's only one problem with that. Congress can override a presidential veto by having 2/3 of both houses vote yes on the bill. The Senate already voted unanimously, meaning 100% voted yes. yes. So getting a 2/3 majority in both chambers for a veto override would have been easy because congressional Republicans were again finally in the crosshairs. Their special perks were gone and TMZ had the camera out for that ass. Congress would have overridden Trump's veto on live television, and that would have been the single biggest embarrassment of his presidency. We've always been the ones to make shit shake. That if we stop flowing money to corporations, corporations have no choice but to turn against government, specifically Congress, who are deathly afraid of losing their jobs and ruining their comfortable perks. We have been the answer the whole time. Fuck up corporations and their money and watch how everybody starts working for us quickly.
We have got to give it up to the TSA workers who went into work unpaid for both shutdowns. We got to give them props. We got to give them props every day because they deal with a lot. Some things that we could only even imagine. Like, I was kind of a witness to it whenever I worked at the airport years ago. Man, it's coming up on 10 years I worked at the airport, at DFW Airport here in the Dallas, Texas area. Fun fact, I was actually going through the process a few years ago to become a security officer with the TSA. And when I can tell you, and it's no shade or anything to the TSA workers because, you know, you get a lot of benefits working there, but I feel like I dodged a bullet. I really did. And I was going through the process back in 2018 and I was not able to proceed because it's multi-steps that you have to go through. My process ended after the physical stage. For some odd reason, I could not proceed because of my vision of all things, which is still like mind-boggling to me how that happened. But I feel that that was a sign from God that this wasn't for me. And it clearly showed because 2 months later, maybe even 3, I'm not sure of the exact timeline. It was just a few months. Like the first shutdown in his first term came about. I want to say that was January 2019 because that's when I started working at the first bank that I worked for. So I always forget what the timeline is. Sorry if I'm wrong on that, but yeah, I totally dodged a bullet not being able to proceed in working for the TSA. Firstly, I was only applying because it was more money. It wasn't something I really wanted to do. I'm sure it would have been interesting, but I definitely did not want to do that. I was like, hey, I'm already going to the airport anyway for work. But yeah, anyway, enough about me. But it's just crazy to think that people's livelihoods and, you know, their money was being held up all because of wanting to play like the whole war on the Democrats versus Republicans. To me, this is just my opinion. I know I say this every video. Some people might not agree, but I just feel like the whole pointing fingers thing when it comes to people's money and being able to pay their bills and healthcare and like being able to get to and from work, that we don't have time to point fingers. Like, we need to get stuff done. And the fact that this could have been solved weeks ago is just absolutely insane to me. But all just to play this game of politics, just to quote unquote stick it to the Democrats because they don't want to play into the Republicans' demands is just absolutely insane to me. And just to think, a lot of those people voted for you in the TSA and they had to lose out on their pay all because of this. I wonder how that's going to go over. And of course, as we all know, he wanted to make it seem like he was the savior and he saved the day, when all along it was his fault because he urged Republicans not to agree to the terms of that one bill. But yet everything has to be on the Democrats' fault. But MAGA always wants to play it like it is on Democrats when the ball was in the Republicans' court. But it's just crazy to think about the fact that it's $1 billion of back pay that is owed to the TSA. In my opinion, I feel like records need to be kept of those who worked unpaid. And I feel like every time there's a government shutdown, no matter whose presidency it's under, they should automatically get like $1 raise or something along with a bonus. And like the creator said in the video, along with time that they used to call out while they were not getting paid. That is insane to me that they have not received their back pay from the shutdown in October. That is uncalled for a government to short their workers in this way. Like, there has to be something put into place, like a bill or something. I mean, of course, it might not be something feasible because I understand the TSA is a government agency and it's like mandated and controlled by the government. But I feel like there should be something to where this should not even happen anymore. I feel like people's livelihoods and well-being and like being paid, that should not be up to the government. If you're showing up to work, you should get paid. No questions asked. It shouldn't be about trying to negotiate a budget or what have you. It should be put into place where employees of all government agencies should not be affected with their pay. Like, let it affect senators' pay. Let it affect representative pay so that they could be urged to come up with an agreement sooner than letting it drag out for almost a month, sometimes even over a month. Definitely feel that this is not going to be the last one. Think about it, y'all. We have a little less than 3 years, thankfully, left. I don't think that this is going to be the last shutdown. I think there's at least going to be a couple more. If not those couple more happening this year, I hope not. I definitely don't want that to happen. But the fact that there's always like disagreements on what bills pass and what bills don't, they want to stall it just for political reasons and to make a point to the Democrats to own the libs and blah, blah, blah. It's just getting old. Like, if I'm a worker, I don't have time to wait for the government to pay rent. It's crazy the fact that workers have to go through these extremes to be able to make ends meet while the government is just lollygagging and taking their sweet time. It's taken this long, and all it took was for him to just sign an executive order, which he could have done to begin with. Take note of that. He played with these innocent people's money just to prove a point, which didn't even really get proven anyway, because the kitchen got so hot to where, like the one creator said, like TMZ was about to start outing bitches. I'm sorry for my language, but this is what needs to happen. The hand needs to be forced, or else who knows how long this would have went for. And I do feel that sometimes, I know that airlines, that's not like really, that's two separate entities. But I kind of feel like there should be something within like airline policy to where, like, if shutdowns happen, maybe even the airlines would have to start kind of being like the plan B whenever it comes to people getting paid. And then the airlines could get paid back by the government. Like I said, I know this might not even make sense or sound reasonable, but something has to happen. We are in 2026. Why is the government in control of people's paychecks? And when it shuts down, like, the innocent people gotta be the ones caught in the crossfire. Yeah, I have enough of this, and I just do not think that this should continue to happen. The government needs to get it together because this is not cool anymore. People are living in their cars, like the one lady was talking about in the video, having to go through all of these lengths just to get to work if they're working unpaid, probably had to do Ubers, losing childcare. Like, that puts people's daily routine out of whack to make it impossible to even get caught up. And just to think, if people are still trying to get caught up from the last one, it's starting to get ridiculous at this point. But we know this isn't going to be the last time. But if you made it this far, thank you so much. I appreciate you as always. And of course, let me know what you think about this down below. I definitely want to hear it. I know we're all kind of fed up about hearing of this constantly, but it seems like hopefully it'll be over. Hopefully they will start to receive some pay on Monday. But anyway, you guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you can hype, do that. That would greatly help me out, and I would greatly appreciate it. And yeah, that's all I have. And I'm going to catch you guys in the next video. Bye. See you later.